Good evening, everyone. My name is Shelley Day. I'm the Executive Director for the Fenton and Linden Regional Chamber, and I'm so happy to be here tonight to our chamber to be able to host this event. I think it's the third time that we have been in front of a Linden audience, and like I said, we're thrilled to be here. I want to introduce to you the staff members for our chamber. We have Megan Grimshaw. She is our Events and Membership Director. And then also Joyce Scott, and Joy is our office coordinator. So we are your staff at the chamber. If you ever need to reach out to us, please feel free to do so. I'd also like to introduce to you our committee, our governance committee that helps put on this event. We have Linda Hathaway from Brad Hoffman Insurance Agency, Matt Mills from Behind Your Design, and Dr. Leon Ingham from Fenton Optometrists. So they are all here tonight to help us take notes and be able to provide information back to you and to the community. I want to thank all the candidates for being here tonight and giving us your time and your information to share with the community. And now I want to introduce the chairman of the governance committee, who will also give you direction on how this night is going to work. Please welcome Patrick Welty from Legacy Realty to the podium.
Okay, so again, if you have a question for all of the candidates, please write it down on the card that you have in your seat, raise your hand, and one of our staff members will come and get it from you, and we'll get to as many people as we're able to tonight. So without further ado, why don't we start on this end? Just a minute, if you would, so we can get through this and get on to the questions, okay?
Okay, so wow, that was a lot to follow up. My name is Greg Jones. I'm a resident here, Linden, homeowner here. I also own the fish store in town, Sunset Corals. So I have a huge customer service background, plus I'm a small business owner. So I think I would be able to bring a little different look on to the board, or some new ideas. That's all I got.
Hello, I'm Liz Armstrong. I'm running for Linden Mayor. My background is I have a very strong background in veterans work, as well as multiple service organizations and community organizations. I am the mother of 7 children. I just had my first granddaughter about 2 weeks ago. My husband, which is here, is a 23, we've been married for 23 years, and he is a Navy veteran retired, and I am proud of his service, and so I wanted to serve in my capacity as well. And that pretty much sums it up for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Denise Miller. I live on Tickler Street in Linden. I'm a proud community member in Linden. I came here 25 years ago for a hockey team. My son played hockey in Linden High School. And because of my neighbor, Ann Morey, my love of Linden just blossomed. She taught me so much about the people here and the history here. And I've come to learn and love the history. The reason why I'm running is I think that we all have a voice and we all need to be listened to and make Linden the best it can be. And I know it can. And I've been married for 42 years. My husband is a Navy vet. I have 2 children and 7 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. And my family means the world to me. I think that's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Danielle Kusan. I am your current mayor in Linden. I have been the mayor since 2016. I've been on council since 2007. My day job is I'm an assistant prosecuting attorney. I specialize in prosecuting crimes against children, specifically sexual assault and child abuse. I came to Linden because it was the area I loved, fell in love with it as a kid, going to Lobdell Lake. I have a vested interest because I am a property owner. I have been in my house since 2005. My husband, Dan, and I have been raising our kids. We celebrate our 10th anniversary tomorrow. and we have kids from the ages of 15 to 27. During my time with Linden, I have been on the Downtown Development Authority, the Library Board, the Parks and Recreation Committee, and the Historic District Commission. I also represent Linden in the Small Cities and Villages of Genesee County, and to there work with other local officials. We've made great strides in Linden, and I want Linden to continue to thrive and be the beautiful place that I chose to call home and that you call home as well. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ray Colbert. I'm a city councilor in Linden. I have a wife, Joan, 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. Very prolific family. And my kids all graduated from Linden. I worked for General Motors for 46 years, managing facilities and doing engineering projects. I've served on a number of committees and boards as city councilor and had a lot of experience. I'm currently on the Southern Lake Park and Recreation Board. I'm also on the FACT Consortium, which generates PEG grants for students. I also served on the LOCI board and very interested in seniors. And I'm passionate about Linden as a great place to work and live. And I want to continue to serve my community. My long-term experience and professional background will help to continue obtaining our city goals. And I want to thank all of you for being here this evening to listen to all of us. Thank you.
Hello. First, I'd like to start out with thanking the City of Commerce for putting this on, or the Chamber of Commerce, excuse me, putting this on so everybody could kind of hear what it is that the candidates stand for and what they believe in. And I appreciate everyone showing up for spending their time here tonight. My name's Jerry Link. I've lived in Linden for 24 years. My wife has put up with me for 28, so she really gets a lot of credit there. That's pretty good deal. But I've 23 years in the United States Air Force. I retired out here at Selfridge Air National Guard Base. My professional career, I went to the University of Cincinnati for mechanical engineering. Been in manufacturing my entire life, held positions from field service to project management to vice president of manufacturing. I currently work at Century Tool in Linden, or in Fenton, as a foam tool manager. Most of you probably don't know what that is, but that's parts on your car, where I'm responsible for developing and growing a new division in that company. I have 3 children. All of them graduated from Linden, and I have 1 grandchild. He just started in Linden this last year. My background in the manufacturing world and making sure that I have to hit budgets, making short-term, long-term plans, and making sure that they're hit, because in the civilian world, if you don't meet your budgets, you don't get to keep your job very long. So I think those experiences that I've had there and dealing with different people, traveling the world with the military and with work, I think those will all be benefits that will help me do well to help grow Linden, increase the tax base, and keep that small town feel that we all love. So thank you.
All right, my name's Larry Allen. I live on Tickner Street. I've been a resident of Linden for approximately 13 years, been married 28, and I have 3 kids, all of them graduating from Linden High School. My oldest is an insurance broker, lived in Grand Blanc. My middle is a staff sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, and thank you for your service.
Yes.
I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
And he is currently on his 2nd deployment to Israel. He was sent to. My 3rd kid is still living at home trying to get his wheels underneath him, but it takes a little while. The reason why I am sitting here is because I want to become the conduit between the small businesses in downtown Linden and the city itself. I want those small businesses to strengthen, increase our tax base, and get us jobs, okay? If people don't work, they can't pay for anything. That's one step in this plan. The second step is I also own a small business that I started out of my garage, basically here in Linden. It literally was a cottage industry. You might have heard of it, Allen and Sons Woodworking. We make a lot of Michigan-themed furniture. I supported my family on that for 9 years, but my wife also works. I'm not going to take all the glory. My wife also works. I'm also a registered nurse, been a registered nurse for 25 years. I worked at wound care and ostomy for Garden City Hospital for close to 14 years. I am now a private duty nurse up here. I want to strengthen I want to strengthen these businesses. And with my business, we did 40 shows in 1 year. I have never gotten a check mailed to me. I have always had to go and solicit business. And that's exactly what I want to do for this city. With their training and their permission, I want to go and solicit. I have 4 types of businesses in mind immediately, but I want to go and solicit those businesses and bring them to Linden. I do not want a McDonald's. I don't want another dollar store. I want other businesses that make Linden actually a destination. If we can increase and get people here, then if we can get those businesses here, we can actually call Linden a destination. This is a town that I love. Believe me, it's not easy for any one of us to sit up here and be grilled, but we're willing to do it because all of us have one thing in common, that we love this city. I will not participate on social media. I think it gets ugly, but I live one door down from the public launch, and you can knock on my door and I will answer any question you have. But dirty politics, I don't like them in the national. I will not allow it in my backyard. And that's me.
All right, thank you very much. So in advance of this event, the Chamber sends questionnaires out to all the candidates. And one of the themes that we saw was a number of people responding to our questionnaires talking about transparency and communication. How would you address this issue? And let's start on this end again with Greg.
I think that we really need to get more opportunities for the residents or for us to be able to talk with city council, be able to talk with the city itself, so that they're able to, spread ideas. And, I mean, there's so many people have so many great ideas out there. And I think we need to open up a platform where everyone can actually express that and take a look at things. I think that's how we're going to really grow this community.
I'm currently on city council, and one of the ways that I have been trying to increase transparency is going door to door, speaking with residents on various issues, asking them for their opinion on how my vote should be. Because when I read the organizational chart, it said that the residents of the city of Linden were my boss. And so they're the ones that need to tell me on the issues that affect them every day how to vote. Thank you.
Transparency is a huge factor in everything in life. You need to make sure that you're accountable of what is going on, especially in the city. I think it's wonderful that at all city council meetings lately, we have actually filled the room. We have people now coming to the city council members. We're having them come up and ask questions. And it's a good thing to ask those questions and get the answers. Not just, this is the way it is and this is the way it's going to be. People are really getting engaged. And that's how, if you want to be Linden and you want Linden to grow but stay small, we need you. We need every single person in the city to come out and have the passion to keep Linden, Linden.
So in order to help with the communication, I think one of the things that's important is educating our residents. Oftentimes people do not understand everything that's happening. There's a lot of information that we receive and that we process. So I think it's important for us to educate the residents. Recently, when I was at the MML, the Michigan Municipal League Convention, we had different projects that were presented. And one of the things they have is an app that could give push notifications to residents as a different way to share information. Not everyone receives information in the same way. And I've been on council since 2007, and times have changed. It's not just what it was before. We post the minutes, we post the agendas, we share the information. I do trust in open meetings and having things happen in an open meeting, but we also need to be able to respond, and we've been working on improving that and need to continue with that. So again, continuing to educate our residents and share information, and it's constantly changing, and we need to look at that as a new way and accept ideas. Thank you.
We need to make sure our citizens are informed. Seeking public input helps all government leaders make better decisions. Major projects like the mill building require, I think, public information meetings to gather input, ideas, and feedback from our people. And I think we do this as a matter of course when we start a project, so everybody knows going in what that project is about, and we've got the public's input to make sure that we're making the best decision. Thank you.
I know transparency seems to be the word that everybody likes to talk about, and it's extremely important. I think one of the biggest things that transparency does is it gives the people more information so that they can come back and give their ideas. I often say when at work, you might be the smartest person in the room, but you're not smarter than the collective of the rest of the room. So you need to get the information out to the residents so that the residents can come back and give that feedback back, what they want, present ideas, and then you could go and implement those ideas. One of the things that I have heard is that part of our budget in the city is so that we could broadcast our city council meetings on the local cable station. That's part of the bill when we pay that we're given time on that. I think it would be a good idea to start. We're videotaping them now. A couple people have started videotaping those on their own and putting them on websites. But I think if we could put that on a cable system, that would allow some people. We have some seniors that might not be easy for them to get here. We have a lot of people that work in the city, and they don't have time to come up here. They get home, they want to spend a little time with their family. If they can watch these meetings on TV and make it easier for them to see what we're doing, then they could give their feedback, and we can do what the people want to do, because it's not about those of us that are on the city council. We're here to represent the people, not the other way around. So thank you.
Once again, transparency fosters nothing but trust. And if you can't trust me, what in the heck are you electing me for? Ultimately, there are multiple ways that we can communicate with the public. We have audio, we have video, we have Facebook, we have written media, but it's also ultimately up to the constituent to go and seek out that information. We can put it out 100 different ways, but if you don't look for it, you won't find it. I would say my wife and I grew up in Dearborn, and their local cable company had the council members or the council meetings actually televised. We have a great resource in our community, an ex-news person, that if we could tie them in with the high school, maybe there would be no cost to us for that service. We have to think of things like this, low cost or no cost, in order to get these things across to the public. Granted, people do watch a lot of TV, but some people won't take what they see on TV as godsend. So you have to put the council members out there, or the council meetings out there. I just think it fosters trust. I want trust. I think we all want trust here. And we can do it in a way that won't cost the community that much money if we look at options. That's all I got.
Thank you. Our second question, and we'll start with Liz. How can we improve business retention in Linden and draw more visitors to the downtown?
So, as I have talked to businesses, one of the largest problems seems to be parking. And I would like to see us actually get parking for our businesses so that that way they can grow. The other thing, I have ideas of unique marketing strategies and out of the box thinking, similar to what they did in Brighton a few weekends ago. I have ideas like that, where 10,000 people converged on the city of Brighton for an event that was about the Gilmore Girls. I have ideas similar to that. I think that that would be fantastic to get more out of town day traffic into our businesses as well.
I believe the way to get into the business and not have them fail, as they've done. I mean, they come in here and then they don't get the businesses in. And I agree with Liz. We have a parking problem. You know, there's even right here, Greg and I, we do great things. He has a car show. I do a hot dog event with Linden Pay It Forward and God's Love. And we have one little parking lot that we try to accommodate everyone. So in order to get customers in, we're going to have to really build on our parking lots, give them ideas of where to go. A lot of the people come to our event on hot dog on the fourth Thursday of every month. People have said, we'll park them down at the Losi Center. A lot of our people that come are seniors. We have to make the parking available. And as far as the businesses, we really have to get in there and ask the business, what can we do to help you? If there's a group that can get together and have events where we tell our community about it, I think that that's the way to go. We really have to be pro-business because they are putting their lifeline on themselves. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So one of the things that we've been going through with the city is the redevelopment ready community process. We've been educating ourselves. I've gone through the training and I've encouraged all of our other board members, council members to participate in the training because it helps us look at our procedures and how things can be better for our businesses, for our residents. We have incorporated joint meetings. Our next meeting with council is council and the DDA, and by working together with council and DDA, we can address some of the issues we have. I'd also like to encourage an evaluation, see how we're doing. Go around and see what's happening, and that's one of the things that was discussed again at the MML convention, and I had proposed at the last meeting that we see how business is working. What's working for some businesses, what's not working for others, and have them help each other. I know in the last week I had 5 different businesses reach out to me for different things they needed, and I can help them, whether it's on social media they're reaching me or they have my number or they're emailing me. One of the things was sharing information about the chamber event, the ribbon cutting that they had, for the brewing company, and working together we can do great things. And that includes working with our businesses and letting them know they are part of our Linden community. Thank you.
I believe the first thing we can do better is work with businesses in recruiting the right type of businesses for Linden. And it's like when you have a child, that child's bored, you work with them, you bring them up, you provide them education. I think the city needs to do that with the businesses, and maybe we need to adopt businesses as a council and help that growing process because it is difficult to start a new business. I believe parking is also an issue. One of my biggest challenges is to develop downtown parking. People aren't going to walk great distances to go to a business. They want parking that's accessible and and we need to work with the businesses to provide that parking. We also need to evaluate business processes after they're in the community for a while and set up a technique where we work with them, understand their problems and challenges, and be there to help them work through their needs. Thank you.
I agree with the parking situation. Living here for 24 years, I've seen a lot of businesses, a lot of good businesses come into downtown, be there for a little while, but you don't see the traffic going in and out. If you go downtown during the middle of the day, there's about enough parking spaces in our town for the people that work in those businesses. And then outside of that, there's not a whole lot more. I know there's some properties behind the Masons Lodge and that the city owns, and I would like to look at the possibility of converting that into a parking lot so that we have parking lots, like Ray says, close to the center of town where people don't have to walk very far. They're not going to want to walk from here to downtown to go to a store when they can go to another town or somewhere else and have that short walk and have a lot of different businesses to look at. A big key to being successful in Linden, you got to go to the businesses themselves. They're the individuals that see what their traffic flow is, how much business they're getting. They're the experts on their businesses. So I think the city council, the city has to go to them and say, hey, what can we do to help you? Because that's what our responsibility is we're to serve them, to give them the tools, the equipment to make their businesses successful. If their businesses are successful, the city of Linden will be successful. I also think it's very important that we try to maintain the proper types of businesses in Linden as much as we can. Because the biggest thing I hear is everybody loves that small town feel. 24 years of living here, that's what I love. I love raising my kids in this kind of a community. And I think by making it more friendly to the right types of businesses, if we can get those businesses in here, that's what's going to be best for the city. But in the end, it's got to be communication with the business owners. What do you need to be more successful? Thank you.
Well, I think the three of us at the end of this table can agree that parking in downtown Linden is a nightmare, and that problem has to be resolved. Right. This harkens back right to my intro, my 3-point plan. I want to become the conduit between every business owner and the city. If they want to fast plan something, you call me and I can take it directly to city council. These businesses need to think and should be shown that they are important to the backbone of this community. The second point was I have 4 business types that I would actually like to go out and recruit. One of them is a pharmacy. We just lost our pharmacy in town, and there is talk that Alpine will join in, but we need to try to find a pharmacy for our community, especially in this day and age. We can't all drive the VG, and I saw at the pharmacy over on Silver Lake Road, the drive-through, there were 10, 15 cars in it. It's a nightmare. I also think that we could benefit from a learning center. Carmanos, I think, is the one that comes to mind. No? Okay, well, I was wrong there, but I will learn from my mistakes and move on. But I think that we could benefit from a learning center. Also, in Dearborn, we had a really cool bulk food store. I think that would be really nice for Linden to entertain. And I have been in contact with the owner, and you never know if these owners are looking for an opportunity. I want to be educated by the city, and with the city's graces, like I said, I want to go and actively pursue these businesses. I don't want another dollar store, and God forbid we get an Applebee's. Okay. But I think the most successful business that we could get into town, and right next to Thimbleberry's, there's a really cute building, is I'd love to try to get a bakery. I think that Linden could definitely support a bakery. I don't think that it would take that much of a niche out of Alpine that we'd be stepping on toes. And I also have a gal who's looking for space in the Linden area. She has a cookie business who's interested in going into a bakery. She's not looking for a cook store. She's looking just for a place with a lockable door, a bathroom, and someplace where she can dress her cookies. And I've been to some of the local businesses, and unfortunately, none of them can help. I would rather in Linden have businesses waiting for buildings than buildings waiting for businesses, because that's exactly what we have. We just lost the photography place out by Linden Bed and Bath, right across the street from the stain shop. We just lost that business. I don't want to see any businesses going. That's the reason why I want to be the conduit. I want them to tell me what the issues are, and if we can help them, I want to help them. I also understand that soliciting businesses is, the odds aren't too great, but in the baseball, to get into Cooperstown, 3 out of 10 times, and you're probably going to make it to the Hall of Fame. I would be elated with 3 out of 10 times, guys. But I know this. If I get onto a subject or a matter, my mind is 100% on it, and I will work diligently for everyone that will vote for me. Even those who don't vote for me, you'll see how hard I can work. That's it.
So I do have a little bit of different perspective. As I own one of the shops in town, I'm also a member of the DDA board. And what everyone's saying here, a lot of it's true. Parking, I sell water. My customers don't want to carry water 2 parking lots over. They drive by. When they drive by, they don't buy fish food. They don't buy fish, and it's like that with a lot of the shops here in town. Now, one thing I think that Linden has that a lot of people don't realize is we have a lot of great hidden gems in this town. There's a lot of really cool places that unfortunately don't always get noticed. I mean, the skateboard shop in town. I mean, how many, it's so cool. I mean, there's Cozy. I mean, all the shops and you start, all the business owners in town have actually started to we all talk together. We're walking from one shop to the other. I mean, I was in the brewery probably, 2 or 3 times talking with them today, or, we all work together. And we need to get that extra step in there where we're getting the city to work with us as well too. I don't want to be negative about anything else, but we do need some help. And I think one thing is some marketing. I think Fenton does a really cool thing where they actually highlight a business on their social media. And I think that that's something that Linden really needs to do, because there's so many neat places. And most of our businesses here in town, it's not that we're having to draw the people to us. But we do need to get more events going on. We do need to have reasons for people to come to town. I mean, the concerts at the gazebo are great. They're really cool. I enjoy going down there and watching them. We walk down there. We live, just on Broad Street. But you don't see the people walking past our stores. And so we need to figure out ways to get people to walk into the stores, because there's so many cool things here and then once we get that, we're going to get even better. We're going to get even more stores. I mean, that's truly what we need to help to grow but still keep the small town Mayberry. I use Mayberry all the time, but that's how I feel this town is. It's like everywhere you go, 2 or 3 people. You can't go to the hardware store without running into somebody, and that's what I love about this town.
Thank you. The third question, we'll start with Denise. Where would you like to see the DDA focus their attention?
Well, what everyone's been talking about is getting businesses out here. I'm sorry. Just like everyone's been talking, the whole group of us, we are so wanting to have our businesses grow. We need to invest in them. I know there are nonprofits try to do their best as far as going out and highlighting and helping the businesses. There's a lot of stuff we can do by reaching out to each business, just like, Larry was saying, and all of us are saying, we need to get in there, listen to what they have to say, and work on it. As far as like the pharmacy, I've been actively looking at Leroy Pharmacy, talking to him. We're trying to find a building, and with what Larry just said, with the building over across from the stain shop, that'd be perfect. I didn't know that was available. I've talked to him about the behind Murphy's dry cleaning. He's got involved over there. He's called over to Alpine, and Alpine's talking about maybe bringing in a Spartan pharmacy. We're not sure yet. Back when I first moved here, there was a donut shop and a cookie shop where the the Coney shop is right now, and it was packed. It was packed every single morning until 11 o'clock. I'm sure most of you remember that. I think we could use something like that again. But I think if the whole community gets together through our nonprofits and the council and the citizens, we can make this good. And I hope to be part of that.
I would like to have the DDA focus on what's working for businesses and what isn't, and then making sure that is relayed back to the council so that we can make changes. And if it's whether it's a council change that has to be made or something else that has to be made, that's how the information is shared. We have a liaison, Brad Dick is a liaison on the DDA with the council. Another thing, let people brainstorm. You know, bring in other businesses. We have Grow Linden, which is an active group that meets. See what those businesses think would help. Ladies' Night is a great event that's put on, and it's probably one of the best events I would think that brings people into the businesses because it encourages them to make a purchase. If they make a purchase, they get some cash, they take that cash, and they can use that cash to put in for prizes at the end of the night. We don't just need people to come into town and see the businesses, we want them to participate. One of the things that I had seen that worked in Brighton is they had a deck of cards and they had a starter pack of cards and different businesses would have additional cards. Again, something that you could do. We could come up with different events that encourage residents to come in. This past weekend at the Small Business Saturday, that was one of the things that was done. Each time people bought something and from one of our businesses, they were entered into drawings. Again, it's encouraging them to come in, see the businesses, and also to give them business. Thank you.
I think the DDA should be involved in making our downtown as attractive as it could be. I think they've done a great job in benches and amenities for people that want to walk downtown, but I think we could expand that with landscaping, lighting, walking paths, outside dining, and they could work on parking accommodations that the businesses need. I think they should be a partner in that particular effort to strengthen our businesses and strengthen their opportunities. The DDA also sponsors a number of events, Back to the Bricks, Music by the Mill, and other events. And I think we could expand the events that we have in Linden to really draw people into our community. Thank you.
Again, it's kind of going back to the same thing that I had said before, is that partnership between the city, between the businesses, the DDA, find out what it is we need to do to make those businesses more successful. How do we go? I think some of the things like karaoke night downtown, those
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yes, yes. Those events, like Daniel said, when people come down and they spend time down there, they're going to go into a shop. If the shops are there, if there's a cookie shop or a bakery, they're going to go in and they're going to buy something. If you could get people in downtown to hang out, that's just going to do nothing but foster more business for the downtown businesses and make them more successful. But again, I think it's the key is to having that partnership between the city and the businesses that are in town and finding out, getting their voice, what they need the city council and the city to do to help make them more successful. Thank you.
I'm not going to beat a dead dog. I want to be that person, whether I make it to city council or not. You guys educate me on what you want me to say, and I will go for this city and I will solicit businesses and try to fill our downtown, okay? And quality businesses. Like I said, I don't want an Applebee's. I think it really boils down to parking. I would like to see the DDA try to solve the parking problem. Maybe putting a small bridge over by, this is just an idea, put a small bridge over by the gazebo. Like Ray said, people don't like to walk. We're all inherently lazy. I didn't get this body by diet and exercise. I got it from sitting around eating McDonald's, all right? I don't like to walk either. So I think if the DDA could concentrate on possibly solving the parking, that would encourage other businesses to come into our town. And once it's much like a domino effect. You strengthen it, and businesses will actually want to come to this community. That makes it a destination. Greg's Place, very unique, very small margin of the business, but he's making it because he's a niche. And if we can get enough of those in this town, it turns us into a destination. And that's what we need to do. We need to be a destination. No one says, I think Saturday afternoon I'll go to Linden. No, we need to say, I think Saturday afternoon we'll go to Linden because we have all of these different businesses that we can go to. That might be a little bit off topic, but I think if we could concentrate on the parking, I don't even know if that's part of the DDA responsibility, but if we could concentrate on the parking, maybe put a small footbridge to increase to cut down the traffic over the bridge instead of through that little park and up on the hill. And I also think that there's an issue going back to karaoke. I'm familiar with the mill because of karaoke. There's also an issue, and this is a little bit off of task, for handicapped people down there. And I'm thinking maybe if we can go from the old firehouse down bridge, that would also solve the problem with being handicap accessible. Just an idea.
So again, I got a little bit different. I'm on the DDA board, so I am involved with that, and actually we have been working with some different things. I don't know if you notice, which they've been though back in behind, like by where Sisters of the Moon and stuff is. There is a gravel lot there. The DDA did pay this year, and we did have more gravel brought in, trying to at least temporarily get a little bit more parking in here. So I do have to, kudos for that. So, and people are starting to use it. But yeah, I do agree. I mean, the DDA we need to get a little more focused. I mean, right now we are focusing on more of working with trying to, beautificate the city. We done the right there by the mill. We did the flower beds. We're looking at doing another one of those, and we're also, there is some talks about working on where the dam is. So that's some different things, trying to fix some of that and trying to figure out how to get those funds to do some of that things. But I think that the DDA also needs to really start focusing on businesses. Parking, yes, absolutely an issue. But we also need to focus on retaining the businesses we have, and bringing in events and different things, like, obviously everyone else is saying that, I'm saying, same as them, but it's, we really need to get the people, everyone to want to come to town, to hang out to town, to see all of our hidden gems. And I think that's really what's going to grow this town, and it's going to grow the DDA, because the more businesses we get in town, the more money that they're going to have to actually work with. So the more that we can do. So it works best for all of us. The more businesses we get in here, the more money the DDA has to spend, and the cool things that we can do with it. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Okay, so a few of my ideas are, I want to see a farmer's market come back into downtown Linden. Through farmer's markets, you can get a lot of vendors, and when the vendor is successful in the farmer's market, then they want to plant a shop in your city, i.e. Linden. So I do believe that would be a very successful way to start getting some different type of shoppable businesses via the farmers markets. Yes, they sell vegetables, but they also sell their wares, their homemade wares, or what have you. I also would like to see the increase, I bring up again, in marketing, highlighting businesses of the month. Also, through the marketing, showcasing in the summer the kayaking and the wonderful mill area that we have. It's absolutely fantastic. So we need to be highlighting that and marketing that to get people for day trips out in the winter. It looks like a Hallmark village here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Why would we not want to bring in day trips, evening trips, to see that? People travel to Frankenmuth. Let's make Linden a travelable, space. And another part of it is, in my opinion, working with the MTA to see if we can get the trolley to go from Fenton and bring people into Linden, and from Linden into Fenton, and see if we can go in the roundabout. Because there might be people, seniors in Fenton that would like to come to Linden for the day and shop and experience the wonderful things we have here. So those are a few of my ideas. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. We've had a couple questions contributed from the audience, so we'll start with our first one, and we'll start with Danielle. How long have you been a property owner in the city, and why are you interested in being a councilor now when most years people run unopposed?
So I purchased my home in 2005, started to get involved in really right after moving here. I started getting involved in different activities and joined the Parks and Recreation. I've been on council since 2007. Shortly after moving and being on Parks and Recreation, I was asked if I'd be interested in joining council. So I want to continue that work because there's still things to be done. When I first ran for mayor, I wanted to work on, in 2016, on communication and building the union block and addressing, we had contamination issue. Those things have been addressed, but we still have other things to work on. So I want to continue making this a beautiful place to live and work. Thank you.
I've lived in Linden for 49 years with my family, and been on the council for about 40 years, also on the planning commission and a lot of other boards and committees. I've been a strong voice for Linden. I work with a lot of other communities on committees and boards, and I want to continue to seek our people's input as we balance our small town character with new growth development, which I'm sure is going to occur as this particular area grows. Thank you.
I've lived in Linden for 24 years, as I said at the beginning. Raised 3 children. Been involved in the community. Coached baseball for Linden middle school teams. But what got me interested in getting into city council was really some of the things that were going on that I wanted to see more of the transparency that we had talked about in the beginning. The special assessment district is really the reason that I came on board, or that I decided to run and hopefully get on to the city council. There was a lot of questions that we had, those of us that lived on this street, that we were not getting is the answers, I guess, that we want. Now, some things I'm sure the city maybe did not have the answers at the time that that we were asking the questions. However, that was the big push, was to get out there and to get more of that transparency so that the people know what the city's doing, and that the people can come in, and when they make comments at a city council meeting, or they their voices need to be heard. When somebody comes up and tells you you're doing something wrong, you need to evaluate it. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, either A, maybe they're just off base and they're inaccurate, or B, maybe they're correct in what their statement is, and you need to reevaluate what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then change. And that's what I'd like to see. That's the reason I'm running, is so that we can get that change, so that people's voices can be heard, their ideas can be implemented, and make Linden an even better city than what it is. Thank you.
I was just informed we bought our house in 2013 in Linden. All 3 of our kids went to Linden High School and graduated from Linden. The reason why I threw my hat into this race is because I want to strengthen our community as much as I possibly can. Back when Reagan was the president and the air traffic controllers went on strike, he fired every one of them, okay? I thought at the time, I'm just out of high school, I'm going to go into the service. So I went in and I talked to a recruiter. The recruiter told me, we can get you in, we'll make you a air traffic controller. I thought that's a job for life. That's a job for life. I was sitting there with the paperwork in front of me and I looked and it says heavy machinery operator. I had taken the test. Literally, the door was open, the Greyhound bus. I could see the steam. At that point, I made a diversion in my life, and I regret not serving my country. I am jealous of my son, and thank you for serving your country. This is a way for me to give back to this community. I have a unique set of skills, and I'm willing to offer them to the city. Whether you pick me as councilor or not, I want the administration that does win to come to me, and I will work with open arms to strengthen our community. I do karaoke. It's 6 times a year from when school gets out till school gets in. We're going to 9 times this year. I'm the warped mind behind the zombie walk or the haunted trail that's just about getting ready to gear up. In fact, I want to throw something in here. If anybody wants to volunteer, we can use every hand and head that we got out there. I just feel that I have a unique set of skills that I want to give this city. I'm not proud. I'm not boastful. I don't like people to know what I do. I like to stand in the background and watch the people enjoy what I do. We get almost 3,000 kids at the zombie walk. And it was so rewarding to see the young girl run off the stage and into her mother's hands after singing out on stage. Those are the reasons why I do it for the community. I want to sit there and get the chills when we open that bakery. I want to sit there and congratulate the mayor when we get our pharmacy in town, because I know that I didn't do it by myself. We all did it together. That's the reason why I want to run.
So I've been a homeowner here in Linden for 8 years. My wife had purchased a house. We were kind of trying to find a spot that was in between. She grew up south of Ann Arbor. I grew up in Clio. I grew up with my mom is in Clio, was involved in everything. I couldn't get away with nothing because she was involved in everything. But I've seen that. She was, now she volunteers at my store. I mean, it's something that I grew up with of how can we help people? And that's kind of part of the reason why I want to, I'm interested in trying to be on the council, because I love helping people. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I put on a car show every week at my store. The whole reason I do that is, does it help my business? No. But if I can bring people to town to help the other businesses, then we're going to win. And there's nothing I like better than seeing the families that are starting to walk down. We're in our 4th year. To see that the car show's going on tonight. I was able to get someone else to put it on tonight so that I could be down here. But to see the families walking around and enjoying the downtown, looking at the cars, talking to people, sharing their stories, that's a cool thing. That's my favorite part. So, that's the reason why I want to run. And I've always grew up where you can sit back and be upset with something, or you can try to be involved and try to make a difference. And that's exactly what I want to do. I don't get a chance to volunteer as much as I would like to. As our shop grows, then I'll have more time to do that. But I've done, through the past, in Clio, we put on a Christmas program. My mom ran it, of course, but I was in charge of logistics. We typically helped about 109 to 110 families with Christmas every year. The whole school, I actually helped start a program when I was younger, in school, where the different classrooms sponsored a family, and they were buying gifts. The schools did canned good drives. We literally filled a gymnasium with stuff that all came from the community, and it was amazing. And that's the stuff that I want to see here. So thank you.
So I have lived in the city of Linden for 7 years. We moved here in 2017 after a devastating house fire. And our son was getting scouted for football and on his junior year. And so we found Linden. We found an amazing rental in Linden. Because my husband served in the military, we counted it out. In the first 7 years of my son's life, we had moved 21 times. Okay? So we have stayed in that rental. We have made that rental a home. We keep hoping that our landlord's going to sell it to us. And so far, it's not happening. We talked to them again today, and that's okay. We'll just sit it out because we love this little city, and we love our home, and we don't want to move. Our kids have started growing roots. After that fire, our children started growing roots into that house, and that's what we want. And some of my children are here tonight, but I want to take that a step further. Property ownership, it doesn't change your investment as a resident of the city of Linden. Whether you own or you rent, we have a very large rental population here in the city, and I represent them all. I serve every single person, whether they rent or they own. Because for some people, property ownership is a dream that they hope to one day attain. And I think, my job right now is to bring residents' voices back into this community, back into the council, and also respect to all residents. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter where they work. It doesn't matter their political affiliation. It only matters that I represent and I want to be the voices of every single one of them. Thank you.
I have been here for 25 years, but I've been a little shaky tonight because I'm not used to sitting on this side. I'm used to sitting on that side and asking questions, so you have to forgive me. So let me give you a little bit about myself. My husband is a carpenter, a retired carpenter. I was a bus driver for Walled Lake Schools for 25 years. I was raised military. My father was in the Korean War and the Vietnam War, and usually that bring me to tears. He was a wonderful man. He taught me a lot of good stuff. One, to be honest, to work hard, and be me. So this is me. I was union president for 12 years in Walled Lake Schools, and I can tell you what, I had the transparency and the respect for the people. I would never say there were my people under me, they were near me, and we worked together to make a successful union. The one thing I did do in my union was I could go out to a principal. If he had a problem with one of my paras in the buildings, he would come to me. We would talk. We'd figure it out. A lot of time it didn't have to come to a violation on that employee. We worked out things. And that's what I want to bring into the city of Linden. We have the ability to work together to make this the best it can. And everyone up here are good people. And we all want that. I've been very privileged to work with a lot of different organizations of nonprofits. I've been with Desert Angels, Packing Boxes. I've been with Linden Pay It Forward. I'm on the board there. This past week, we're in here popping popcorn with Kiwanis. It takes all of us. When they say it's going to take a village to make this our home and make this the best we can be, I want to be a part of it. So with a little bit of being scared up here, this is me, and I'd love to be part of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this one goes to, starts with Ray. With the special assessment adding $14,000 to the tax bill in my neighborhood and $6,000 to another, and our water rates doubling, what would you do if elected to ease the burden on the already struggling citizens of this town?
I think we need to be aware that we live in an environment where getting things done is important, but things also cost money. And we try to assess projects at the best rate we can accomplish within the city. We go through an elaborate bidding process to make those assessments as low as we can and to try to minimize the impact on all of our families. But it is a tough time economically, and I think the city needs to work and partner with each one of the people in the community that have special needs, and there are ways I think we can work out reducing some of the cost. There are projects that need to be done. It does cost money. Each of us needs to pay our fair share. So that means that sometimes we need to dig down. And in our pocket to get those things done that needed to be done. But I think the city can partner with people that have special needs to mitigate some of those expenses. Thank you.
Well, as I said before, the special assessments is what brought me here. I think there's some things that, can be done to possibly, help out the community. I know a lot of times government loves to say, hey, we're going to partner with you guys and we're going to split this with you. Well, the reality is government doesn't make money. Well, our federal government, they'll print it. But at this level, when they partner with us as the citizens in the community, it's our tax dollars that go to the city. And then the other half is ours coming directly out of our pocket for the special assessments. Now, I'm not saying there is no scenarios where a special assessment isn't necessary, but I think the people need to be informed. I know there was a special assessment, I believe, on Tickner Street where they went down and they talked to the residents up front and said, hey, look, we want to get this road replaced, but this is what it's going to cost. And they worked as a partnership with the people to say, okay, this is an acceptable amount. I would like to see, I know that Ellen has a lot of members of her staff that write for grants and from the federal and state level. My sister runs a charter school. A lot of these successful charter schools, they have full-time grant writers on their staff because to qualify for some of these grants, you have the correct type of verbiage. You've got to know the process and understand what that, to get the grants, you got to understand what they're wanting to hear and how to fill those forms out. I would like to see or look at the possibility of getting a full-time grant writer on board because there's a lot of state and federal money out there. I know that we're looking at it right now, but I would like to see more of an effort to do that. That, along with growing more business to get more of a tax base in town, all of that gives the city more money and requires the people of the city to put forward the money like they did at Lindenwood and also here on Ralston Road. And yeah, that's pretty much what I would like to see is go after more federal and state money and get more tax revenue from businesses.
My feelings towards Ralston Road actually changed today. Is it on? My feelings towards Ralston Road actually changed today. I drove my tractor down there and I have no suspension. I originally thought that maybe the area behind the veterinarian, we could get away for a couple of years with that. The area behind the car wash, that's always been very bad and probably should be replaced. So my original thinking was replace what's behind the car wash. Let's go a few years on the other portion. As I said, my attitude changed today. My voice was about 3 pitches lower before I went down the road. And I think this with Ralston Road, nobody likes it in abatement. Nobody does. But that's the way that we paid for the road out in front of our house. You mentioned Tickner. I think what we should have done is we should have worked, especially in these economic times, we should have worked closer with the citizens and tried to maybe figure out that not only are we giving you that, but you're also getting a tax assessment on top of it. That was an unforeseeable issue that the city set up. But understand that even putting it off, it's not going to be any cheaper this year than next year. In fact, it'll be more expensive. We all know that post-COVID, the prices of lumber, paint, concrete, everything has gone up. And I'm not sure why. I think it's just because they can, okay? So I probably would have held off a few years on the Ralston Road issue. I know it's very picky, but I don't think that it could be held off. So probably I would have said, let's table it this year, let's get you through your tax assessment, and then let's try to work a little bit closer with the neighborhood and let's see what can be done. Can we patch it? I hate to think that because it's just gonna, we patch here and then it breaks down there. Really, there is no easy easy answer to that question. We should have gone, or they should have gone and maybe communicated a little bit better with the neighborhood, like they did on Tickner. But sometimes that can't be done because it needs to be expedited. I don't know in this case. I will say, as a nurse for 24 years, it was appropriate, and I was taught to say, I don't have all the answers, but I will gather the information and I will make the best choice that I can with that information, with your input and with council's input. We can't know everything, but we can educate ourselves to the issues as they come up across our table.
So, I mean, the tax assessment, yeah, I mean, that's been obviously a huge topic this recently, and I'll be honest, I'd never seen anything like that before. So I've been learning just as long as everybody else has, and I totally understand. I mean, there's only so much money that the city gets for taxpayers, and all this stuff it's super expensive. And if we do want to be able to improve our roads and improve our water source and things like that, then this stuff is going to come up. I think that as far as myself is what I would do, being on the city council team or the group, it's a team. So we all have to work together. All of the city councilors have to work together to figure out the best solution. I think that Ellen and the city staff, I don't think they get as much credit as they deserve, because they are out there trying to get everything they can. They're trying to get the grants. They don't have, like you said, there's not a grant writer. So they're trying to, in their spare time from everything else, trying to find grants too. We do need a grant writer that's full time. I think that that's something that will help, get some of this extra funds in here that we do need. But all in all, it's all of us. It's all of our town. And like you said, said before, I mean, the tax money that's there it's all of our money. So I mean, it's not just pointing fingers at one certain road or things like that. It's going to happen for all of us. It's just a matter of when it happens.
So the first part I would like to start off with is I would definitely like to see a grant writer hired to the city, even if it's on a part-time level, if that's possible. Because I definitely think that there could be some funds out there that could help with infrastructure as a whole. And if there is any funds, I want Linden to have them. The second part is as far as special assessment districts. I am a very firm believer in the right for a resident that we are asking to pay for a road to have a say on whether they want the road first. So I went through, I spoke to every resident on both affected special assessment district areas. And I asked, do you want the road? And we can do that because we have two ways in our charter. Our charter was written that it can be city-driven or it can be citizen-driven, for special assessments. I am a fan of the resident-driven special assessment. I believe that you can go to residents, you can talk to residents, you can explain the need for a road. They can turn the petition in, and then you can comfortably go down the process with the residents, respecting the residents, hearing their voices while you're getting the amount that it's going to be. And then at the end, either it's good or it's too much. But what I am seeing right now is, as you talk to Lindenwood, there are a lot of seniors that are getting priced out of their home because of the special assessment, because of a piece of asphalt and infrastructure that was allowed to go too long without being replaced. So then it had to be a total rip up and tear down job. Same with our water rates right now, and that is through no fault of our city manager. But our water right now, those rates are going up because we have to replace infrastructure because it was let go for too long. So I believe you work with respect with your residents to come to mutual decisions. And sometimes those things can happen, and sometimes you need to push pause. Thank you.
I think that there's a lot more communication with our citizens on both issues. In 2002, on Tickner Street, they came down and they said, we're gonna do all these streets at the same time. The good thing, how it happened was they went up to the VFW, they put down all of our residents, and they were able to tell us how much it would cost. I wasn't a fan of putting a sidewalk in, but they said that's part of it. We all knew what our bill was gonna be. We could either pay for it then, or we could put it within 15 years. But it was something we knew. It wasn't something that was a surprise. I believe we should keep what we know, and this is the water. My bill that I figured it out for my little house on Tickner Street is going to cost me and my husband about $500 extra a year. We are seniors, we are on a fixed income, and we live within the means. You know, for all these years I was told our water was good, okay? Now we want to take our water and put it to Lake Fenton or Lake Huron and trust all this is going to come back, but the problem is they're going to make the prices. It's now out of our control. I would rather have invested in Linden Towers, added money into it, and made it good. And if that was not possible, then the communication should have been out there. Put newsletters out to know for the residents, because it wasn't until it was an issue that any of us knew, and that's when people started showing up. And it's no fault of the people that are on the board. It's the fault that we have nobody. That's the only time we come to meetings, is when something's wrong. The communication needs to be out there. Put it on our newsletters. Have something go out besides we have to dig into what's on the agenda. You know, if I know what's going on, I will be there. And now I'm there all the time. So that's where I'm at, and I really feel bad for the people over in Linwood. Not only they're having their roads done, and they're also getting their water rates because they're on Linden water. They're not on a well. And some of these people over there are going to be totally priced out. And I worry about the citizens and where, you know, the investments they make here.
So the question is, the SADs adding to the tax bill, as well as rising water costs, and what can we do to burden things on the residents? Unfortunately, costs of everything are more expensive across the board, right? What the city's paying, as Ray said, is more expensive than everyone else. And we need to be fiscally responsible in what we do, because we can only spend the money once. You know, just like you do at home, I can only spend the money once. And sometimes we do have to make hard decisions. In 2018, we tried for a road millage, and that failed by 26 votes. One of the reasons it failed is because other people had special assessment districts, and that is one of the things that we do. The city continuously goes through different programs in order to take advantage of funds and lower those costs. We became a certified local government, and that provides us with additional funding opportunities. That's one way that we can help ease the burden. On March 11th of 2024, I voted for our ARPA funds to go towards the water fund for the Genesee County Water Connection. By voting for the ARPA funds to go to that, it enabled less money to be assessed and spread out amongst the residents. We also have the availability of Michigan funding. There are organizations through the Michigan Municipal League that it shares grant opportunities. So one of the things, again, I went to the convention and they said, here are opportunities. Here's the My Funding. You can put in what you are looking at, a project you're looking at, what type of project, when you're looking at it, and it'll tell you if there are grants available. And then we get notifications. So this week I provided notification to Ellen of some of the upcoming trainings they have in order for us to take advantage. These are ways we can help residents. We are also part of the Metro Alliance. We did get some money recently awarded to us for that. And yesterday, I'm on the small cities and villages of Genesee County. And as part of that organization, we share information. So the county had provided information on what to do if you have a hard time paying your water bills. I received that information from small cities. I provided that information to the city so the city could share it with the residents, and they also shared it through LOCI. We try to share the resources, and we do that by being educated and informed. Thank you.
Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm going to combine a couple of questions that we have remaining. And then, of course, you folks are going to have opportunity to enjoy the cookies and the coffee and water and visit directly with the candidates. But the last question is really about natural resources in the city of Linden. And there are two different questions. One regarding plans for the library and the museum, and another one with regard to Mill Pond and the Shiawassee River. So I guess if you want to address, the resources in Linden and how you'd like to see them utilized, I think that might cover both of those for the people in the audience.
With the mill pond, since I had started going to a lot of these city council meetings, the mill and all that, it's pretty clear. I mean, if you were to go around Linden and say, hey, ask everyone to take one picture in the city of Linden that represents your town, it's that mill. And the museum inside there, the library inside there, in the meetings that I've been to, it seems pretty evident that that's what the people want. The people want it to stay exactly how it is. Yes, we have to pull the artifacts and some of the museum pieces out because no construction company is going to work when you have valuable assets in that building that can be destroyed that they might be responsible for. But my feeling on the mill is you keep it as it is. Now, there's also a cost that comes with running that mill. We did get a $4,000 grant, yep. And we've got that money to redo the mill, but all that's going to do is it's going to get it back up to where it needs to be. Then we have to figure out how do we pay for the year-to-year expenses for the mill, and that's going to be the big question. Taking care of those resources when that is the picture of your town, I think you need to keep it that way. I would like to see possibly more trips from the school, and they may have those. My grandson just started this year, so I don't know. But have them take trips down to the library, have the library focus, and I know there has been some focus in the library on children programs to get more kids showing up to go to the library, make it more interesting for them there. And then when it comes to the museum, have the kids in Linden go to the museum, learn about the city, so that gives them a little bit more pride in their community because they understand the history in it. But again, the key is going to be how do you finance the operations on an annual basis? And that's where the city's got to look at some different ideas to handle that situation. Thank you.
This is one of the issues that I'd have to educate myself better on. But my gut feeling is nobody wants it to change, and that's where I'm going to stand here. The resources actually of the Shiawassee River, they are what Linden is. That building is what Linden is. The gazebo is what Linden is, and the fire building is what Linden is. If we want to keep our small town, we have to keep those buildings available to all. My one concern is, and my numbers might be wrong, but it costs the city $40,000 a year just to maintain the building, and it's going to go to $45,000. That doesn't move the building forward. That just maintains that light bulb in it, does no improvements. My gut feeling with this is I would give it back to you guys and we would have to have a millage on it and let's vote and I'll do what you guys want me to do. That's the reason why I'm here. I'm supposed to be your voice. So tell me what you want and we vote that way. But my gut is and my wife and I have had this discussion. My gut is to keep it, but we also need the building to support itself. If my bills are going up, the last thing I can afford is another bill. I do want to go back though, and I just want to say that it concerns me when we sit in meetings and the young plumber guy, 20, 25, 30 years old, stands up and says, I have to take a second job. I have to take a third job to support myself in the city. what in the heck are we doing, guys? We gotta stop and smell the roses. If you're asking me to pull in my belt, then the city should do the same. That's about what it boils down to. I'm not saying they're overspending. I don't know what the budget is, but I think that there's somewhere that we can cut and still get the services that we need, that we want, and that we deserve. But the library is sticky. The water is sticky. It's funny, I live on Mill Pond and I turned down the vote to spray it for weeds. I don't want to spend the money. We don't have it. I don't want to lose my house because I can't afford the taxes. Somebody said they're going to lose their house because of the asphalt in front of it. That's a real scary statement. So all I can do is educate myself and make the best choice that I feel that my constituents want.
So, I mean, the mill, like everyone said, that's the heart of the city. And I can't tell you how many times I've walked out of city council chambers and the first thing I do is I look up and I'm just amazed at every time I see it. It's, I don't know, and I didn't grow up from here, but it's just the feeling you get when you see that building is it's Linden. And we need to do everything. I mean, obviously we have the opportunity now to fix that building, but the museum, that's our history. I mean, we can't lose our history. I am a member of the Linden Mills Historic Society, and we need to keep everything. We need to keep the museum in the mill. We need to keep the library in the mill. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, I see people all the time that go to the library just even to use the internet because they don't have the internet at homes, but they're go there and do it. We're right now, even though yes, it's because we're doing trying to, you know, we're going to have to clean out the mill in order for them to do construction, but there's a lot of people that are going to lose even the internet. And if you read everything I read about business and, you know, watching different people or, you know, people that are very successful. And the one thing they always say is read books, which, you know, we read, you know, obviously are reading online and things, but read books. And it's so important. We have to have the books in order for the youth to be able to read them. So they have to be available. And so I think that we really need to come up with a way, and that has always been kind of in the back of my mind, part of my agenda. I mean, I'm trying not to go into this if I have the opportunity with the agenda, but to protect the museum, protect the library, that's very important to me. And as far as the mill pond, you know, it's amazing. We need to push have more opportunities for people to go fishing there. I try to sneak over there every once in a while to go, you know, catch a couple bluegills, and I kind of try to go down by Larry's house, but it's all lily pads. You know, I just get snagged up, and so we do need to do that because we have amazing resource, and there's amazing. If you can get a fishing pole in a kid's hand and teach them how to fish, you might get them away from the video games. You know, they're outside. You know, they're exploring. They're not only seeing that, but they're seeing everything else that we have out here. And it's just very important. You know, the kayaking is incredible. I mean, how many times I look across the street? I live across the street from the funeral home, and I see all the vehicles out there with kayaks parked out there. That's awesome. It's amazing. I mean, I've even seen people. I've been down fishing, and I've seen people drive their boats up and park them by the mill and go into town. I think they were going to the bar, but that's okay. You know, but still, they were going into town and they were having a great time in an evening. And we need more of that. It's awesome.
Okay, so my opinion first is the mill building is the absolute heart of the city. It was my favorite thing that I saw, and now is my favorite place to go. The mill and the mill pond, the gazebo area. So now, my opinion would be I would love to see it saved. I would love to save the library. I would love to keep the museum in there so that we can always know our history. Our children can know their history. But then there's another point of I can't say that I am here to speak the voice of the people if I don't in fact do a survey. So I am a big advocate of doing a survey to find out how the residents want to see and what they want to see in that building. There was a survey done a few years ago. I looked at the survey. It had very, minimal people responded to it, considering that we had 4,125 residents in this city in that year's census. So I would like to see a larger participation, and I do think we would, given what's going on now with the mill. People actively do care about that building. As far as the Mill Pond area, that is my favorite place to go and sit and read books. My children love going there. They like to paint, take photos. My youngest son, loves to go and fish. That is literally the heart of the city, and for us, it is our favorite place as a family to go. So I would definitely want to see more activities centered around there, but I've already been saying that, i.e. making sure the kayaks, and that part is marketed well, because what we have here is very, very special, and I would like to share that with others. So thank you so much.
Well, everyone said that the mill building is the heart of Linden. And you know what? They're right, but it's also the history of Linden. When we walk in that building, we see my neighbor, Ann Morey, all of her quilting's up there. We see people that's invested their life in the city of Linden, they're up there. And when I heard Greg and other people say I'm very fortunate, very fortunate. I live on Tickner Street, and every day you can go down that road and you see the elderly walk in for the internet, or you see these little kids toddle in to read a book, and you see people at the kayak place, and you see kids they could ride in their bikes. The karaoke that Larry does, what we do in that surrounding area is amazing. And we can't lose this building. We were the first people. Mike Mueller did this in conjunction with our state. And he got us the $4 million. And folks, we're not going to get this $4 million again. And we have to do it right. And we have to honor the people in our past. My passion is senior citizens, to honor them, to respect them, and do for them. And we cannot lose this building. With taking our artifacts out of there, I understand, like everyone else says, my husband is a carpenter. He said, Denise, you have to cover it up. You have to take it out. You preserve that, okay? We take out the library, but we have to let them come back in. We have to support them. And we have to have communication at the same time with the citizens on what we're gonna do. Because we don't know what the structure is going to be, what kind of structure. We need that information. So that's my hope, is that we can keep our history and our city the way it is.
So the mill building has been a hot topic, especially lately. And what's being addressed right now is that we made a decision back in March of 23 to recommend a request for proposal to gauge interest if anyone was potentially interested in developing the mill. Not selling the mill, but developing the mill, just to get information. And I love the mill, I love the museum, I love the library. I've been on council for so long. There were times when I was in council chambers, and as a single mom, my kids were upstairs, and I could hear them running back and forth in the library, and I knew, okay, we got to start wrapping this up soon. We've been to the museum. I love all of that. But the last question that was asked of us was, how do we not force our residents out because of too much taxes? We have to be fiscally responsible. That's all we're trying to do. I want to make sure that we have information. Some people might not be able to afford a millage. They're saying they're already taxed too much. They might not be able to afford a millage. Now, that's something that people will decide. We did have a survey done in 22 by the Mill Advisory Committee where we talked about what people would like to see in the mill, some ideas of what people had. And there were a lot of different ideas. We're in a different position now than we were then, and I understand that. Now we do have the $4 million from the state appropriation, which we can use, and we're working on securing the building, securing the outside. It's going to look the same, and that's the first phase. We will continue, but again, as an elected official, I have to be fiscally responsible, and I have to make a decision with information. And until we have that information, I can't make a promise. Now, question was regarding natural resources and the mill pond. The Shiawassee River is here. That's why we are a city. The mill is what makes us unique. I treasure both of those, and they need to stay. One of the things that I've done as the mayor regarding natural resources and keeping the Shiawassee River safe is I went to the DEQ and Eagle, now Eagle, in Lansing with our former city manager and our city attorney, and I advocated for the cleanup of the gas leaks in town. And I went to meeting after meeting, and at one point they were just talking about one area that needed to be cleaned up, and I said, you know what, there are 2 spots. We needed those cleaned up, and they're cleaned up. They're cleaned up now. There's remediation in process, but that is one way that we can protect, and one of the things that I have done to protect our natural resources. We recently worked with the Shiawassee River Coalition because they wanted to put in signage along the trail, signage along the river, so people knew where they were and what they were doing, what was around. That's something that I encourage because, again, if the river isn't here, we wouldn't be a city. I also suggested that maybe we need to have an arts and culture committee so that we can work with the library, work with the museum in order to keep the culture, the history of Linden alive. Even if it's finding something someplace else for some of these items to go while the museum is out and the mill building is being worked on, let's put some of those things in different businesses and continue to show the interest, show the history, show that we honor that history, because that's Linden, where yesterday meets today. Thank you.
Maintaining the mill building is critical to our future, and I don't know if a lot of you realize this, but this $4 million grant was not given to us by accident. Ellen, Danielle, and the council worked very hard with our representative to identify our needs for the mill building and make sure that that funding was done. And Danielle and Ellen, so Ellen back there somewhere, want to thank you for that. We stood up and fought for the mill building because the first thing we needed to do was to fix the building. We've been told for years that the building was in disrepair. We didn't have the money to repair it. So that was the first step, to fix the building. I'm also in favor of maintaining the museum and library there. Today, it's not accessible. If you've been up to the museum and climbed those stairs and you're a senior, you're having a very difficult time making it. So the improvements of the building will allow it to be handicap accessible, and everybody will be able to get up to the museum and to the library. The building needs to be fixed, and that's our first step. The Shiawassee River is our future. It's our land to develop along the river for new businesses. We've got plans that we've looked at for mixed-use businesses and residents along the river, and that's our growth area. So that is also very critical to the city of Linden, that we work to complete that initiative. We've talked to developers, we've had people in that have looked at it, and we need to continue that initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the Fenton and Linden Regional Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, and thank you to the candidates for your time and the presentation. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Please enjoy the cookies and the drinks, and have a great night.
Thank you.